This one's kind of hard to get to, but this is continuing into the garage area. So this is it's an 89 Ford Ranger. These are some other wheels I had. I just threw on there because it didn't come with them, but I picked this up for free. The cab is in really good shape. It's missing the hood, obviously. It was a classic car restoration shop that picked this up, and they didn't have the title for it, so I needed to apply for a lost title. But they took it for the engine and the transmission, so they yanked those out. Then I guess one of their employees was stealing from them and started selling stuff off of it on the side. So they sold the hood and then the bed and a few parts of the dash. So I'm going to rebuild a dash. It'll be a pretty basic one, but I want to do a Volkswagen diesel swap in this and just have it as a kind of medium duty flatbed pickup truck. Yeah, the cab was really clean on it, which is why I wanted it, and it was free. So I figured worst case, if I decide not to do anything with it, I could scrap it for metal. But the frame has surface rust on it, but it's in really good shape for what it is. There's no like pitting or anything, but I just figured I'd just flatbed it, just make it a pretty basic utility truck. Do like a small, I might do a dually axle, I'm not sure yet. Something that can haul some weight, because I want to be able to load this thing up with quite a bit. And with a diesel in it, it'll have plenty of torque to haul that. But the exhaust system was brand new on it. Might repurpose that on something else. It's kind of a, well, not kind of, it's a really big mess in here. And that's my dad's Corvette. That's the 61. It's getting dusty. I need to pull it down and clean it. Supposed to work on it more over the winter. Didn't really get a chance to. Then this one's pretty cool. I just picked this up. So I had two of those sidekicks. I showed you the green one. I bought that from, like I said, an old guy that moved to Alaska, left it with his family. Well, he actually had two sidekicks. One was white, one was green. The white one was a little bit newer, which I didn't like as much. It was a sport model, and it had like power windows, power locks, and I like the basic shit. So I ended up getting rid of the white one. I fixed it up. I paid $1,000 for that, and then I paid $600 for the green one. They both go for usually around $3,000 to $4,000 each, depending on the condition and how it runs and all that. But anyway, paid $1,000 for the white one. Guy thought the clutch went out in it. Ended up being a bracket, so it didn't cost a dime to fix it. So I had that thing up and going pretty quick. I did register it. It was only like $80 or something. And I drove it around for a bit, made sure everything was working great on it. Ended up replacing a MAF sensor. It was like $30. So between registration and the $30, I mean $1,100 in that thing. And yeah, it was good to go. So this guy is a Scion FRS. I'm sure you're familiar with like the Subaru BRZ and the Toyota 86 or the Toyota GR86. Depending on the year, they kind of changed the naming of it. But anyway, same car. This is a 2014 FRS. This guy picked it up. It was a trade deal. His dad had a company, and this guy took this out for work in California and started doing some stuff to it. He threw a turbo on it, injectors, and tuned it, and then did some coilovers. Did some other things, obviously, like the wide body and stuff. And he had some extra wide body panels. Those are fiberglass. So I'll probably, I don't know, those kind of look cool, but I think the wide body fiberglass without the rivets would look even cooler, would look more natural. Yeah, anyway, he took it out to California, did some stuff to it, ended up having some issues with the engine, didn't know what was going on, so he did a trade for some work that this guy's dad did. And then his dad just gave it to his son and was like, here you go. And his son said he was going to fix it up. Well, he didn't really know anything, it seemed like, about cars. He was confused why something said Subaru, like the fenders, the body panels. It says Subaru. The engine is actually a Subaru engine. It's a Boxer. It's an FA20D. But inside of it's pretty clean. I kneeled right here and got some dirt, but overall it's pretty clean. There are a lot of upgrades in here. It's got, those gauges are not attached completely, but it's got like air fuel ratio, boost, and oil pressure. And then he was running E85, so he has an Innovate Industries flex fuel sensor and gauge in there. Then he has Alpine Type R speakers, at least in the front. I haven't checked the rear yet, but seems like it's a decent quality sound system. Other than Pioneer, it's okay. But yeah, it has a nice short throw shifter. It's actually a really nice shifter. But this thing's pretty cool. I traded that, I don't think I mentioned that yet. I traded that white Suzuki Sidekick for this. So that's how I came across this one. Yeah, I just mentioned this guy was like, hey, I want to sell this or trade it. Can't remember how much. I think he had it listed for like 55 or 6,500 because it doesn't run. And so yeah, I offered him that Suzuki Sidekick. And I figured I could get $3,000 for that thing fairly quick. Maybe I would have sat on it a week or two, but that was kind of what I valued it at. But with this not running, I mean, normally these are $8,000 to $10,000, especially in this condition and with any aftermarket parts like turbos and stuff. And then he did some stuff to the e-brake to kind of, I guess, drift or something. Doesn't look like anybody actually did anything with it. They just wanted it to look like a drift car. Yeah, he has quite a few aftermarket parts on here. He's got the flex fuel sensor right here that goes to that gauge. The clutch, I noticed I went in the back there, there's a little inspection port. And it looks like a stage 2 or stage 3 clutch. And then this turbo kit on it, it's about a $5,200 kit before taxes. And it's got, front mount intercooler, everything on it, wastegate, blow off valve and that. And then it's got the filter over here. You can see some oil coming out of it. So it had a little bit of blow by, which all Subarus do. But I'm gonna take this thing apart, and I'm not sure how far I'm gonna have to dig into it. I actually got it started, and it ran fine for about 10 to 15 seconds. And after about 10 to 15 seconds, it starts knocking, and I can't really tell exactly where that knocking is coming from. It does sound like a rod knock. It's just odd that normally it would happen right on startup, and then it would smooth out after things kind of get lubricated and everything, unless it's that bad of a rod knock. But this is the opposite. So I'm almost thinking it's a fuel table that a lot of tuners put on for startup conditions. So if it's cold or whatever, it basically, you have open and closed loop for your O2 sensor. So it goes off of how warm, a few parameters like how warm the engine is. So it goes off engine coolant temp and everything. When you first fire it up, it always goes off this fuel table that has like an enrichment feature. So it usually it's using more gas. It's burning a bit richer for 10 to 15 seconds. Then after that, it'll enter its other table. And depending on the parameters there, it'll adjust the air fuel if it is in open or closed loop. So I'm kind of thinking somebody messed the tuning up on it. And it almost seems like it's just going really lean, because I looked at the air fuel ratio, and that sucker was, it couldn't even read. It was so lean. So it might not even be knocking. It might be some detonation, pre-detonation due to it being too lean. So I might actually just return everything to stock, bypass the turbo so I don't have to pull it off, and see how it runs there. But yeah, this will be a project. Definitely worth it though. I think just getting it running and doing some very minor cleaning. I mean, it's a little dirty on the hood and everything, but minor cleaning, and then maybe just swapping these out, and it's easily at least 10 grand. I bet I could get out of it. Full exhaust system. Everything seems to work well, other than obviously the way the engine runs. But this one's a pretty cool car. I did pick up some new bearings. I really don't want to tear that engine apart. Subarus suck ass to build, but I got some new connecting rods. This guy had all of these parts and then couldn't get oversized pistons in the right size that he needed, so he ended up selling these cheap. This is like $1,200 worth of parts. So ARP head studs, got new head gaskets, full upper seal kit, valve covers and everything, and then these Skunk 2 forged connecting rods and the bearings, and these are some King Racing, XPG Racing bearings. So Yeah, between that, I mean, the gasket kit alone, head gaskets are stupid expensive, especially for the MLS, the multi-layer steel. That was $340. And then the ARP studs, those are 280. These were only like 112. These suckers are like $410. They're stupid expensive, but that's the first thing to go on a lot of these Subarus when you boost them. So those would be a good upgrade. If I end up tearing that engine down, I'll definitely use these parts. Kind of hope I don't have to, but worst case, I'll use those. And I picked those up for $500. So yeah, I figured it's normally $1,200 before taxes for all of that. And I paid $500, private sale, so no taxes. So I figured it was a good enough deal I could get my money back if I end up not rebuilding this. Yeah, this is another project I'm kind of excited about. I just picked this up a couple days ago. I just barely traded it.